Hey, what's up guys? CHH here from Planet CHH. So, I've got a cool video for you guys today, and if you're a hardcore 1978 John Carpenter's Halloween fan, I'm going to be really interested to know how many of you knew all of these. I have watched documentaries throughout the years. Anything that was on a physical disc, special feature-wise, I've watched it. And I started reading this book, Taking Shape, and I was learning some really interesting facts about John's first movie and things that go along with his first movie. So I thought, let's do a 10 facts about the movie that you may not know and see how much you guys can get. So this is going to be kind of for deep diving horror fans and fans of the movie, not just casual fans. So no William Shatner questions or anything like that. So the first thing I learned from Taking Shape was that when the screenplays were starting to come in for Halloween, the first person to actually pen a screenplay after the story and everything was lined out with everybody was Deborah Hill. I just wasn't expecting that. So what happened was when John and Deborah were lining out the story, John had to go work on a movie called Somebody's Watching Me, which was a TV movie. It was a great little thriller, and Deborah had penned the first rough draft of a screenplay. So the first person to put a screenplay top to bottom on paper was Deborah Hill. That's pretty cool. Alright, so the next fact I learned from reading this book, Taking Shape, was, do you remember the scene where Dr. Loomis pulls off on the side of the road and he's on the payphone and he gives that iconic line he gives right there, "If you don't, it's your funeral"? In the script, he was initially supposed to be talking to his wife on the phone, talking about how I'll sleep whenever this is situated, I'll be home and I'll sleep for 3-4 days, I know I haven't been sleeping well. He was supposed to be talking to his wife. Donald Pleasance told John Carpenter, if this guy is so crazed about his job and everything he does, he has no time for a personal life, he's single. John agreed, and then the script was changed to what he says in the film. That was interesting. Jamie Lee Curtis plays Laurie Strode, obviously, in the first Halloween movie. This is no news to you, but I was interested to know that John Carpenter got that name from his first girlfriend, Laurie Strode. Now, if it was exactly that name or he slightly changed things, I couldn't get that information from the book. The name was based off of his first girlfriend that he had, so the more you know. So the scene where Dr. Loomis is at Smith's Groves at night with the nurse, and then Michael tries to break into the car, they get out, Michael drives off, he has that iconic line, the evil is gone, it's gone from here. That line was originally supposed to be read by one of the wandering mental patients in Smith's Groves that night that walks up to Dr. Loomis and says, the evil is gone now. By the way, where's my purple lawnmower? Yeah, they were supposed to ask about a purple lawnmower. I mean, this was a mental asylum, but that was changed. But wow, that would have been totally different. Can you imagine that on screen? Okay, so the opening of Halloween is obviously one of the most iconic things on the planet. We get that classic Halloween theme, and we get that pumpkin that we all know and love. This pumpkin. Well, did you know that on the script, it was initially written that it was supposed to be the mask Michael wore, that blank, pale, emotionless mask. Now, I don't think the mask was already designed by that point, considering this was from the script, but could you imagine just Michael's mask being zoomed in closer and closer and closer until it gets inside of his eye? That would have been interesting. Wouldn't change history, though. I love that pumpkin. Alright, so this is kind of involving Halloween 2 a little bit, but in the beginning of Halloween 2, we hear that famous line where Dr. Loomis says, "You don't know what death is," and then the music hits. Well, did you know that that line came from the 1979 Halloween novel written by Richard Curtis? Richard Curtis had the line, "You don't know what death is," in the novel for the very first film. So it's apt to assume that John probably looked at the novel for Halloween after it came out and referenced some of those lines, which is really cool to think about. But "You don't know what death is" originates in the novel for Halloween 1978. Speaking of the novel, this blew me away, and I've got to read it, but unfortunately this book is out of print, and Trancas, who apparently owns it according to this book, just refuses to reissue the novel for the first film. Michael speaks in the novel, and not only that, he speaks a good bit. There's one scene where Judith and Michael answer the door when trick-or-treaters come by, and when Judith is playing with the kids and doesn't give them the candy right away, one of the kids says, "You better give us some candy or else," and then Judith says, "Or else what?" and Michael chimes in, "Or else we'll kill you," in a stoic voice. The kids get scared, Judith scolds Michael. After Michael kills his sister in 1963, which we'll see in the book and obviously the movie, we go forward to seeing Michael in court, where he testifies on himself and admits to killing his sister. They put in a lot of stuff. You gotta remember too, this is before Halloween 2 came out, so the author had watched the first movie and talked about he needed to put a bunch of exposition in this book because Halloween wouldn't read as well as what you would see on screen, because there would be way too much things that would just be left up to the viewer to try and figure out. So Curtis decided, let me try to give backstory and exposition to a lot of the stuff that is seen throughout this movie, which is interesting. Again, I've got to read this novel, but I was blown away to learn that Michael talks in the novel. This fact was pretty interesting, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. So as we know, NBC would want to buy Halloween to put it on TV in the early 80s, right around the same time Halloween 2 came out. John Carpenter got a deal for $4 million, and then they had to do the reshoots because of the timing and things. They needed to fill out a 2-hour time spot. Well, apparently those 3 days of filming for the NBC extra shots for the movie cost more than the entire major production of Halloween's original shooting of $360,000. 3 days cost more with NBC filming those scenes than the entire production of Halloween. Going back to the TV edition of Halloween again, remember that scene where we see Dr. Loomis in that courtroom and we're talking to all those officials about Michael Myers and saying he is the most dangerous patient I've ever observed, that famous line? That was taken directly from the book as well. So it's apt to say, again, that John had to have read Curtis Richards' book on Halloween and been inspired to do stuff from the book and use lines from the book, because this is the second line now that was taken directly from the novel. So that's pretty interesting. And the last fact, I feel like most of you will know this, but I probably have heard this before, but it didn't register. In the scene in the TV cut as well, where we see Jamie Lee coming down the stairs and she's got the towel around her hair where she just got out the shower and she opens the door, that is the Elm Street house. That is the 1428 Elm Street house. I had no idea. I couldn't remember that. Maybe I've heard it before, but it didn't register to me. But yeah, that's the house that Freddy built before Freddy built it. So all in all, the purpose of this video is to say this book is amazing, and I highly recommend getting it, because this is for the Halloween fans that want to know more. That stuff that just is not in the documentaries, not in the TV shows, because a lot of it is, you know, just super fans would want to know. But man, what an awesome book. I can't wait to read more. If you guys like this, as I go through this, there's stuff about every Halloween movie. We can do 10 wild facts about Halloween 2, Halloween 3. We could do all of them, and you guys can see how much you know about this, because I'm just over the moon excited about this book. Learning this stuff is incredible. So let me know if you guys like this video. Please drop a thumbs up if you did. My name's CHH. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, and music, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month.